stress-related symptoms. The duration of treatment is not known at this time. Sincerely, Albert F. Walters, MD.
Now, isn't it very clear that he's saying very clearly that they should have been able to understand that extreme anxiety, what he was referring me for, treating me for, okay, to the best of his ability, and he felt like, oh, after several years of him treating me, that he felt like I needed a specialist, someone who really deals with it, with depression and mood moments, and refer me to him, Dr. Wainick. Shame on the city of Bridgeport to not acknowledge it, to accept that, okay? And want to know, to say, how come I was so upset? I was upset because I had a time card, I had a check stub showing that I got paid on March 16, 2006. This is my pay stub showing that I got paid, all right? Shows that they mailed it to me. I got paid for that day, coming in, all right, that day and a half, for hour and a half. But they act like I never showed up at all, and they terminate me, saying I was terminated because I voluntarily resigned, and they said I terminated because I had not come to work. When you have evidence, which I've shown you in the past, that was a lie, okay? Then I want to know, how do I have the anxiety, the stress moments that I have? Look at what Russell Liskoff said. Okay, what did Russell Liskoff say, the assistant city attorney? What did he say to me pertaining to me because I had the audacity to want to file a complaint? Did you have that one?
I don't have that.
Okay, well that was basically Russell Liskoff. That was Russell Liskoff saying that he has issues with giving people share work when it deals with those of them who are suing the city. Okay, and I say,
yes.
Shame on the assistant city attorney to say such a thing pertaining to me, knowing good and well, okay, I was a good public servant for the city of Bridgeport, as well as for him when I was serving on behalf of the city. And to deny me the right to defend myself when I was unjustly terminated, I say, no, shame on you, okay? But again, I'm gonna come back to this story here where the labor board voted against Ganem, okay, which he don't show, which will show that apparently all of them are not in bed, all of them are not on the payroll, all of them are not about getting kickback. I will deal with that in a minute or so. But what I want to show you, what add insult to injury, they said that my doctor's note was not acceptable. Okay, look at here. In 2005, okay, I had a leg injury. I was out for it. This is Dr. Walter's signature he used back then. They made a big deal of his signature being the reason why, okay, they would not accept me in 2006 being out, and because of his nurse signing me out saying that I'm out because of extreme anxiety. They wouldn't accept that. They wanted to know what was I being treated for, so she had to send them another note indicating that I would be out because of extreme anxiety. Okay, and because again, she signed it instead of the doctor signing it, they said the doctor should have to sign it. Okay, and even though you said the issue was what was I being treated for, Jody Paul denied me my benefits because I could not justify it. She felt like extreme anxiety was not justifiable enough, so she denied me that, okay? You turn around here, all right? Dr. Walters, you read what he just said, okay, saying that he was treating me in the past and they referred me to Dr. Wainick, a clinical psychiatrist, okay? Now you sit over here, you got the city of Bridgeport saying that the union agreed with the city, that the city was justifiable in terminating me, all right? But yet and still, the city told them, okay, to reinstate me back, make me whole, okay, all right? To reinstate me back to my job. The city and union told them to do that. They denied the union that respect in terms of putting me back to work like they should have, because they should have never fired me. And what really irritates me is that to have the labor board cover this up. You don't have that, do you? Do you have remarks on the labor board pertaining to what they did? Okay, well, the labor board said he has issue with people suing the city. Okay, no, the labor board
no,
what?
I don't have Russell. No,
Yeah.
I don't have that.
I'm talking about the labor board's decision when they ruled against me. But the bottom line, okay, is that the labor board gave the impression
okay.
that my doctor
Yeah, you're talking to
were literally strips
the
of
Board
paper.
of Mediation
Yeah.
and Arbitration.
Yeah.
It says in this case, the city was faced with a situation where an employee had been out of work for several weeks and attempted to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper. Two of them were signed by a nurse. The one which was signed allegedly by a doctor did not contain any description of a grievance ailment or diagnoses of any kind.
Yeah, you know, and that's why I say again, how could they get away with this, saying that I was not being treated for extreme anxiety was not a legitimate reason enough to be out of work? Labor Relations said that, Jody Paul said that, the benefit said that. Shame on them to do that, and that's why I asked Mayor Ganem and I asked the Governor Lamont to have a meeting with me, someone from your office, someone from the mayor's office, someone from Senator Blumenthal's office, because all of y'all had your hands involved in this matter. And I can't see how I can be persecuted the way I've been persecuted and this stuff be allowed to go along, okay? And when I insult to injury, I told you you need to look into what they did. I told you that Albert Murphy, all right, Gerald Weiner, should not have been paid. They should not have been paid. The issue is here. They said, Murphy said I was terminated, all right? The city was justifiable in terminating me. Mike Coe had agreed with the city, with Murphy. So based on, out of the 3 people who had that vote, 2 of them voted against me, saying the city was justifiable in terminating me. Now remember, Murphy said I come running in with little straps of paper. I did not have straps of paper. These were doctor's notes. These were not straps of paper. These were doctor's notes from the Dr. Walters' office, not straps of paper. That's what the labor board said to cover up for his other cohorts in terms of the profit that they've been making off of the taxpayers of the city of Bridgeport and the state of Connecticut.
Yes.
Now again, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that they would include Dr. Walter's note in the summation, and Dr. Walter's note was after the fact, was after the termination. It was not a decision that was part of the termination. He was just putting it out there.
The bottom line
that
is,
you,
the bottom line
Yeah.
is that the bottom line is that Mike Coe had Gerald Weiner should not have had any hearings pertaining to my termination, because the bottom line is that if I got terminated employees do not have the right to have a hearing pertaining to anything if they was terminated. They said I was terminated. He agreed with Mike Coe had agreed with Murphy that the city was justifiable in terminating me. Even though Murphy lied, then he called my termination documentation straps of paper. The question is, if I was coming in there with straps of paper, that means apparently I showed up with straps of paper. Nevertheless, whether they be straps of paper, even though they wasn't, I still showed up on that day, March 16, 2006. And Mike Coe had agreed with that. Okay, so I'm saying let's go along with that. The question is, if you both agreed with that, why you, Mike Coe, had over here getting paid with Gerald Weiner, saying to Gerald Weiner that let's deal with him on a volunteer, because Gerald Weiner is saying on my recorder that I voluntarily resigned. Now you will hear Gerald Weiner say it in his own voice, that Murphy said you voluntarily resigned. Murphy did not say I voluntarily resigned. Murphy said I come running in with little straps of paper. And Mike Coe said almost the same thing. You will hear that in his own voice. You will hear Mike Coe saying in his own voice. Well, Murphy said, again, he goes back on what Murphy said. Murphy did not say that. You heard what Murphy said, all right? I gave it to you in black and white in writing. You got what Murphy said. She read what Murphy said. This is what Murphy said again. You know what I mean? Can you see it again? Can you hear it again? This is what Murphy said from the labor board, the chairman. They committed fraud. I accuse them of committing fraud. And I want to know from Senator Blumenthal, why aren't you going to do anything about Mike Coe and Gerald Weiner getting paid, what, 4 hearings he got paid $225, another hearing $150, another hearing $150, another hearing. He got paid $575 about whether or not did the city have a right to deny me my medical benefits. When he said point blank up here that the city was justifiable in terminating me, and if it was justifiable in terminating me, there should not have been no hearings down here pertaining to my medical benefits because I was terminated according to them. They knew that. And what troubled me and what had insult to injury, okay, is that Gerald Weiner, didn't you get from Albert Murphy the specifics as to what the case was pertaining to whether or not did they rule against me by saying the city was justifiable, or did Murphy say I voluntarily resigned? No, you seen what Murphy said. He said that I come in with straps of paper. Yet and still you're saying, well, Murphy said I voluntarily resigned. You know that's a lie, okay? And you're saying that out of your own voice on tape. He's on tape. Download it on the Cecil Young Show on YouTube. You can download this show 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. Nighttime, daytime, in your car phone, in your hand phone, in your pocket phone, anywhere, everywhere in America. And I'm saying to those of you who heard my cry, please help me convince the Connecticut Post that there's no reason for them to turn their back on me in terms of what I'm saying about these people. They got power. They got ultimate power. And the lady that just backed out of not running for governor because of the X amount of dollars they so-called spent misuse of city funds, okay, and she backed out. The question is to Governor Lamont. I'm not asking you to back out, but I'm saying to you, you backed out on this matter here, and if you're going to back out on me giving you information that you should be investigating, that I gave to you, the question is, okay, you know better than the lady who dropped out of office. So I say to the lady who dropped out of office, get back in. So we are a state, we're in a city in the state that maybe you can win again. They did it in Bridgeport 2 times with Mayor Ganem, so who's to say they can't do it with you? So don't necessarily give him because you made a mistake. He made a mistake. They made a mistake. This governor who's in a position to remove these people who committed a crime, committed fraud. I, Cecil Young, said, sue me, Mike, go ahead. Sue me, Gerald Wayner. You're an attorney. You're supposed to be a minority attorney, a civil rights attorney, and all the above. You know the law. Help Mike Cohead. Both of you should be able to sue me, take my home, take my pension, okay, take my Social Security, take whatever you can from me as fast as you can if I'm lying about anything I said here. And I'm pleading with the U.S. Attorney's Office, to the State's Attorney's Office, okay, and to the public at large, the Connecticut Post, Bridgeport Post. I don't know, for some reason, Brian Luckhart, the Bridgeport Post reporter, does not want to cover anything I say, and I can't understand why. And because of me, Marshall Lee, who goes to City Hall every month, he's not being covered. Clyde Nichols, who used to go to City Hall almost every month, he's not being covered. A lot of people that used to speak there before are not being covered because of what, me? Because Brian Lockhart's in the back room with the mayor instead of being out there in the lobby with the residents and the taxpayers who's crying out to them. Somebody hear our cry. Somebody responds to our cry. They committed fraud. I accuse them of doing that. Evidence will back that up. I have that to back up for you. It's here. Let them justify why they had those hearings. Let them do that. They can't do that. Okay? And the reason why no lawyer wants to really deal with them is because, again, Gerald Wayne had been on this board for almost 20 years. The chairman. Mike Coe had been on this board for almost 20 years. Okay? These men got awesome power. They got awesome power. So I can see why my attorney, John Williams, did not respond to my matter. As much as I pleaded with him, as much as I begged him to return to court, respond to my case, John Williams, because if you don't respond to it, they're going to throw it out of court. I pleaded with this attorney, okay? Each one of these notes you hear me have my wife email them every time. Here's 4 or 5 letters here, and I got 12 more on 2 other posters at my home, okay? So I can't bring it all because I don't want to waste the whole show on just talking about what John Williams didn't do. He got paid $10,000 and never showed up in court, not one time. Not one time. And I'm saying to Brian Luckhart, to the taxpayers of the city of Bridgeport, I deserve my stripes. I deserve being heard, okay? Back then, Joe Owen, Mike Daly, okay? Those are 2 white reporters who respected me as the man, not Cecil Man, the black man, Cecil Young, the man, okay? Okay, Joe Owens and them, they knew me as someone who cared about people's rights, who cared about this city, who cared about people and what they've been up and down in terms of what they've been dealing with for years and years. I've been involved in all these kind of things for years. Why? Because I'm concerned about where we live. I'm concerned about our people. I formed this cadet corps to patrol, to help our neighborhoods feel safe, to make our kids feel safe, and to be a part of something worthwhile being a part of, which is protecting and helping keep our neighborhoods safe and sound like it is now. Green Homes, a lot more quieter now. It paid off. The old Father Panic, a lot more quieter now. It all paid off, okay? Like I said before, okay? There was one time, okay, when they was in total darkness, all right? But again, like I said before, y'all got the information, okay? You got the information showing that on March 16th, all right, 2015, we made documentation indicating that I'm going to get married, okay? That I'm going to get married. And I got married on March 16th, 2006. Here's proof of that. Here's proof that Patricia became Mrs. Young, all right? She became Mrs. Young because of me marrying her on that date. Yet and still, if I did not come to work, that would not have been able to happen because that happened on the same day. So if I didn't come to work, she should not have been able to have been up under my medical benefit plan that I used it out of my own benefit plan, which I thought it was run from the city's plan, but basically was my plan, my benefit that she got paid and taken care of. And I'm saying shame on them to treat me like they treated me. and to treat my family like they treated her. She's no longer here now because she passed away after smoking herself to death and having a heart attack, okay, and basically just passed away, stretched herself out. My daughter and the rest of them stretched themselves out in words that I can't even explain, don't want to explain because it's too hurtful. So I'm going to pass on that for the moment. But I say to you, after all that was said and done, that was told to Jody Paul and Janet Finch, that I was totally disabled. A federal judge declared me totally disabled, all right? April 13, 2010, a federal judge declared me totally disabled because of what? Because of my physical attack that led to me in my back, all right? And my back was nowhere near as bad as what it is now, all right? Even though they caused a bulger, which the so-called doctor was supposed to correct, he made it worse. Now I can't basically do nothing at all. Talking about using my hands, that's about all I can do is use my hands. But as far as my back being moving around, sweeping floors, or vacuuming the floor, or doing something in a standing up motion for about 5 or 10 minutes, I got to sit down. That wasn't their way before. But because of me going to have that operation, it forced me to have to become totally disabled. And I got the disabledness, okay, before that operation took place, okay, all right? And that's what troubled me. And I say to myself in 2009, okay, all right, I was being treated by Dr. Wainick, okay, to this day. And he put me down, okay, as showing that I've been totally disabled because of what they did to me in terms of my job and treat me the way that they treated me. The operation took 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours they operated on my back. Why? And why did it take so long on my back? And then he told me, Cecil, you're going to have to get the rest of this done before you get too old because it's going to get worse if you don't. He told the truth. It's getting worse. It got worse. I've been taking so many drugs, different type pills to ease my pain to a point where the doctor said, Cecil, you got to stop because it's causing you not to be able to digest your passage stool without knotting yourself up to a point where you're going to cause yourself hemorrhoids problems and all the above. So I now had to back off of that. So now I'm drinking other types of things to try to keep my body controlled without the pain that I'm bearing night and day, 7 days a week. A federal judge declared me totally disabled. Why did he declare me disabled? Because of this here. Because of what I've been through here. All right? Had nothing to do with the operation on my back because the back operation had not even taken place yet at that time, okay? All right? And the back operation went after that. But I became totally disabled because of what they did to me, what they treated me, the way that they treated me. And because of my doctor, he realized that what they had me going through, okay, no man should have to go through what I went through. And I said, I agree with them, okay? They took away my medical benefits, they took away everything, and why, all right? I won my medical benefits award. I took it upon myself and said, no, I don't want no union to represent me on this because the union didn't represent me right on the city one. The attorney that I had represent me for the union at that time, unbeknown to me, he moved to California, okay, and forgot all about the Cecil Young case, okay, as far as I knew. Okay, so I ended up contacting State Rep Ayala at the time to have them ask the status of my complaint, the status of my issue, all right? Couldn't get no response. Then the response I did get was that they ruled in favor of the city, all right? But yet and still, they ruled in favor of the city. Yet and still, here it is now. I won this award because I took it back before the labor board with 10 other commissioners, along with Mike Coad and Gerald Weiner, and proved to them that the city had no right and denied me my medical benefits. Because if I was terminated, I had a right to continue those medical benefits. Mike Coad, Gerald Weiner knew that. Terminated employees did not have a right to collect any benefits at all if they were terminated. But yet and still, they got paid, and we got played, huh? They got paid and we got played. And I'm saying to the taxpayers of the city of Bridgeport, don't believe me. Ask the Governor Lamont these questions. Ask him, did I not send him information pertaining to these matters? Ask him what efforts did he make to try to correct and to look and see if this was a matter that needed to be looked into. Ask him what did he do about it. Ask Joe Gannon what they do about it. Because they're going to be coming around actually for us to vote for them for governor and for mayor. And I said, for what? Huh? If you could ignore this kind of injustice, if you could ignore this kind of crime, how kind of governor, what kind of mayor are we allowing us to maintain? Oh, maybe corruption. It does have an effect on our brain cells because once you get beat by the pharaoh sometime, that blood money begins to have an effect on it, like drugs have an effect on those who once they take that first hit. And because you got that first hit, it made you feel like you're somebody because he smiled at you, made you feel good. You just got overwhelmed and just got drunk with the thought of thinking that you're somebody in their lives. As far as you're concerned, you're nothing but another voter. When election time comes, he's going to skin $8 grand like he never did before. And after that's over, he's going to walk by like he never knew you existed. So let's not play with ourselves. Let's not forget that. because that's what we're dealing with, okay? And like I said before, I've always spoke out about all kind of issues in this city, okay? I spoke out about raw sewage being allowed to go into the basement of PT Barnum once they unclog that pipe and allow raw sewage to flow into the basement, into a household trash can with no wheels up underneath. And the question is, how do you move that kind of sewage, that kind of water that came from bathrooms, from toilets? How do you move that without tipping it over and causing it to go all on the floor? So what did that do? It spreads out. The disease of it spreads out, okay? And it affects those of them that are coming in and out of those people's houses to say, okay, is your toilet clear now? Is your tub clear now? All right, but in the meanwhile, all that stuff that came to the basement floor, they're in there and walked now, and that's why they're washing it off their feet now, because that's what they're dumping out. And they know they have to wash it off their feet, because otherwise they're putting it in their cars or in the truck that they're driving in, so they wash it off their feet, okay? And this little drain, if you're in that drain area, that may help that area, but how about the other area where there ain't no drain, all right? And then you say, here it is, a lady with all these mouse droppings all inside of her household drawer, bunch of mouse droppings, all on her dresser drawer, neatly folded clothes, all the above, but mouse droppings running rampant. And yet and still I say, I speak about all kind of issues again, and I say, what is this here? This is water that I took up, and one day we're getting ready to make some coffee, and I live here on the east end of Union Avenue, off of Carroll Avenue, Milner Street, and I was running me some water to make me some coffee, and this is what it came out, and this is what it looked like. That's why I say before you drink that water, when you turn it on, let it run for a little while, because if you notice, put your nose, you'll smell sewage if you smell the water running when it first come on. Okay, let that clear, let that smell, let that water run for a few minutes, then it'll clear up a little bit, okay? Then you won't be so bad. Otherwise, you may directly get what I got that day. You don't need that in your system. Don't tell them what it will do to you. And what troubles me too is that, okay, here it is, you have Blumenthal, okay, who took this case, all right, in 2008, okay? He took this case in 2008, and he referred to this matter to the Assistant Attorney General Mitchell, who on my behalf pursued this matter and sent it to the state auditors, and the state auditors gave their findings based on what Assistant Attorney General Mitchell grew up. What troubled me is that now we can't seem to find any of these files, which is strange. And what troubled me is that the state auditors sent a copy of their findings to several different other departments. But yet and still, Attorney General Tung said he can't find anything. I guess you can't find nothing if you ain't really looking for it. I'm sure you can find something. If you can't find it, I'm sure the stuff that I showed here today is enough to make you want to pursue this matter and to look into it, since you want to look into everything else. And you have no problem with going into the archives and pulling up old files about old cases of injustice and looking into it. That's what you claim to be concerned about, always in the past. Why stop now? Let's look into what they did to me. See if whether or not the city was justifiable. See if whether or not the Blumenthal fall at the wayside by not pursuing this matter. Because the Blumenthal would have known that in 2008, that the public facility, that Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe had realized they made a mistake, and they honored it in 2008. Why come I was not really notified of this? I found this out several years later, and that time my wife was so sick, I guess from so many letters she got. One of the letters was apparently saying that they approved it, but no one gave me anything specifically saying that this matter is over, because we had hearings after hearings after hearings, when in essence all Blumenthal had to say was, hey Cecil, you were right. They committed fraud. And the question is, why didn't Attorney General Blumenthal take action against Mike Cohan and Gerald Wayner for committing fraud? Because again, like I said before, okay, I won the medical case. I won the medical award, all right? I won it. By who? Not Gerald Wayner, even though his name there, not Mike Cohan, even though his name there, all right? And the question is, these two names are the two names of the people that denied me my benefits for almost 20 years, as far as I knew. I didn't find out about all this here until after digging through the files with my new wife, who found out these papers. And I said my wife probably missed that one paper that had showed that we had won the award, because she had begun so sick that she was wore down to the point where she could just losing her memory, losing her thoughts, okay? And so she might have missed the fact that we won the award. And the question is, we won the award because it should have never happened in the beginning. So the question is that the reason why Blumenthal never took any action against these people? Because they knew that once he took action against them, it would be exposed that they did something they shouldn't have did, because they knew better. They knew better. They, like I said before, they're not no fools. They're not no accident. Gerald Wayner, Mike Cohan, all right, they've been on the board for years. They make the policy. Gerald Wayner, chair, Mike Cohan, manager. They both make the policy. They know the law. They know that if Murphy agreed with the city and said the city was justifiable in terminating me, that means that there should not have been nobody getting paid to do anything pertaining to my medical benefits, yet and still it did. And what really troubles me, okay, is that, you see, Joe Owens and Mike Daly saying Cecil Young's heart's still in the right place. Why? Because I care about people, I care about this city. And I'm sorry that Gerald Wayner got caught up in this, because I know he kind of like tried to want to get out of it, and I can understand that to a degree. But the bottom line, okay, Gerald Wayner, it's not my fault that you didn't step down, that you could not hold your own and would not be able to tell the truth that you know needed to be told, because you should have told the truth, Gerald Wayner. You should have said that, hey, hold up, Cecil, I've come to find out now with these hearings that you've now had and that have shown me, because I heard Jody Paul say, yes, you came to work, but you left an hour and a half later. She says that several times. Why didn't Gerald Wayner say one time to Jody Paul, Jody Paul, I thought he was terminated for not coming to work? Huh? Why didn't Jody Paul say that? Why didn't Gerald Wayner ask for that? Why didn't Mike Coed say, well, Murphy, and then what Murphy said, the question is, why did you go along with Murphy if you knew that it, so-called in your mind, in Gerald Wayner's mind, that I volunteered to resign? Both of you knew that. Yet and still, okay, I had to get Councilman Newton, okay, Councilman Newton and Councilwoman Nita Martinez draft a letter requesting that they look into this matter, okay? It ain't so how long it took to get this justice or to expose this matter. A crime is a crime. They violated my civil rights. What they did was a hate crime. This was hatefulness for them, what they did to me. And I'm saying that they should not be allowed to get away with it. The question is, they said, okay, that Cecil Young was terminated. Huh? He was terminated for what? For not showing up at work. I did show up at work. All right. The letter shows on March 20th that I was terminated because I had not showed up at work. But the letter here says that because I have not returned to work, you're going to be deemed to have voluntarily resigned from your position. Therefore, your position with the city is hereby classified as unauthorized, and your position with the city is hereby terminated. They terminated me. How do you terminate someone who came to work? Here's a time card showing that on March 16, 2006, I came to work. Here it was signed by my supervisor, Etha. It was signed by her, showing that I came to work. It indicated to her as well, her showing that Dr. Evans, Mr. Young will be leaving at such and such time because they plan on getting married today at 12 o'clock. Okay, so I told her at 10:30 I'll be leaving. Okay, but I'll be going for a colon exam on the 17th. Here it is showing you that I'm going for a colon exam. I'm going for a colon exam, all right, on the 17th. I told them all of that. And I say to the mayor, Joe Ganim, you said you need a second chance, but I need a second chance too. Show Joe Ganim, put Joe Ganim's face on here. Let's show Joe Ganim. Give him a show. I wonder, this is the mayor of the city of Bridgeport who was convicted, went to jail, did his time, and now he's been repented and he paid for his crime. And I'm saying I take my hat off to you, Joe. But the bottom line is that you're in a position to have someone investigate to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me. That's all I asked you to do. Just like you did the same thing with Wanda Vegeta, Wanda Petaway. You said, I wanted this matter investigated, and you hired a private agency, a private attorney firm to investigate to see if whether or not it was justifiable what she did during working hours, okay? And the question is, they made a judgment call on her, okay? And I'm saying to you, I will pay for you if you will refer an attorney. I need you to recommend to someone that we get to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in firing me. All right, what does it take from you, Joe? Huh? What is it coming from you? All right, I ran for mayor in 1977. Why? Because I care about this city, all right? I care about our people, all right? And yes, I said here, down here on the bottom, it said the conspiracy that could backfire. Yes, it could backfire, and maybe it should backfire, because what they did to me was wrong. No one should have been treated the way I was treated. And I'm saying to the mayor and to the governor, as you come around town and talk about why we should vote for you, I'm saying to people, hold up before you do vote for them, ask them, why has they not responded to Councilman Newton's request? Councilman Newton and Councilwoman Nita Martinez, two minority council persons, requested they look into to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me. And you say to me, well, see, that was 20 years ago. I don't care how many years ago it was, okay? And I say, for a good example of what happened to the Jews, they didn't stop pursuing those of them that persecuted their people and did what they did to their people. So why should we stop for those of them that are persecuting us? You said we want reparations for those of them that had persecuted our people and used them over the years as slaves and never gave them anything. And we kind of look at records and try to find records to prove who they are. We can't find them. But you got a record here to show you that I came to work. You got a record here to show you that everything I said was the truth, nothing but the truth. And that is why I'm saying to you, for me to have to give you this information and to have these two council persons from my district tell you that they want you to investigate these allegations to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me, and you couldn't do that, huh? That was last year, last April 8th. He asked you to do that, and to this day you still haven't responded. Shame on you. Councilman Cruz, George Cruz said point blank, I know Cecil. I know him as being involved in community issues for years and years, and to sit here and to treat him like you treat him, I think it's a shame and a disgrace. And I'm saying to the mayor, right, hey, your public works director, okay, like I said before, he's doing a heck of a job in terms of over where I live at, and I appreciate that, and I hope he do the same with the rest of the area. But in the same breath, like I said before, we need the grass cut. We need the grass cut. We need things cut to keep this neighborhood looking like it should look, because a lot of folks are paying high taxes on the east end, all over on the east side as well, and they deserve to get the same kind of treatment that everybody else gets. And I'm saying to you, it's not always about me, it's about we, okay? And that's why I say to you, okay, you've seen the evidence. He called this scraps of paper. Labor board, who's supposed to be saving jobs, lied, perpetrated a fraud. I'm saying that Gerald Wayner, Mike Cohen, Albert Murphy, you lied. You lied, and you know you lied. All right, you call these scraps of paper. These are not scraps of paper. How do you fax over scraps of paper? There was another piece of paper that was faxed over to him, all right, and that they faxed over to Dr. Walton, Dr. Evans' office. They got all that. Yet still, the union got the nerve to lie and say that they did not. They went along with it. The union told them, no, reinstate me back and make me whole. That's what the union told them to do. And that's why I say to the city of Bridgeport, to Mayor Joe Ganim, yeah, you're doing a pretty good job in terms of having your public works director being able to identify what issues. This street look a whole lot cleaner, look a whole lot better. Why? Because of we focusing on it and making an issue of it. All right, the city is a whole lot more brighter now. Why? Because I used to work for the city of Bridgeport, making sure that the lights were put on throughout the whole city. I rode citywide for years, riding around, tapping poles and marking down the numbers of those poles that lights were out in the projects and in the neighborhood of St. Mary's, in the neighborhood of the North End, in the neighborhood of the South End, in the neighborhood of the East End, on the neighborhood of Stratford Avenue. Stratford Avenue lights were so pissy yellow that you couldn't even see. You thought you were walking riding into a massage type of atmosphere, a club type of atmosphere, where everything just dimmed down real low, where you couldn't see where you go. All right, they were really that dull. And I'm saying now it's lit up like it should have been lit up in the beginning. Okay, but now because we spoke out about it, it's lit up. Now because we spoke out about that, PT's lit up. Now because we spoke out about that, Green Homes is lit up. Now that we spoke out about getting better housing, improving our conditions, okay, we made a difference. We made a difference. Why? Because we exposed the kind of things that were going on in our neighborhood. All right, there was nothing being done about it. It was just dumping off stuff left and right, dumping off stuff. Look at the kind of problem that it was causing. But now that no longer looks that way on Milner Street. That no longer looks that way on Orange Street, because they're picking it up every 2 to 3 days. They're picking it up. But the question is, now we need to set an example. Highlight a camera that will be able to zero in on those trucks or those vehicles that are taking these trucks, their cars, and dumping this stuff on the side of the road, and we have to send trucks out there to pick it up. Stop it. 2 to 3 times a week. No, we shouldn't have to do that. Put a camera there in those areas that you know that they're constantly dumping on, and catch a couple of them, highlight it, put it in the paper, and I'm sure that will slow it down. If you run through a toll booth, they got your camera, they got your marker plate number, they're gonna send you a ticket. Same thing here. If you find the marker number in the vehicle that dumped off that stuff, you ticket them, you have them towed, you do whatever you gotta do, but something gotta be done to prevent this kind of action, and if you don't do that, it won't get done. I hope that someone will pass it on to the state of Connecticut, that they will come and rescue these fences that are stressed out, that are leaning down, that are falling down, because they need to be restored. And it won't get restored if we don't say nothing. And that's why I said, if you see something, say something. That's what I did. I seen something and I said something. Now our city is a whole lot more brighter now because of these lights that are now being restored. Look at that street now, night and day. But the sad problem is that on Union Avenue, these here stones there, those are stones that poles were usually locked into them. So apparently whoever dumped them poles, that stone there, might be the same person that's involved in taking away those pipes that came out of those kind of holes. We don't know. If there was a camera mounted up there, maybe we might have caught them. Because ain't no way in the world that they can tell me the only fences they had that was going to attach was here and there, and the rest of them they would not put nothing through the loops. Something that's not right here. Somebody need to investigate to see if whether or not did the state complete their job. Or did they just go halfway and just say the heck with it, and that's why it's falling down the way it's falling down. I just can't picture someone just taking all that pipe away and no one seeing it and no one saying nothing. And again, like I said to the mayor, I'm saying to the governor, I'm saying to Senator Blumenthal, all right, You see the information, you see that I was totally declared totally disabled, and I'm saying to you, okay, give me my due, give me my justice. Remember now, Janet Finch, Jody Paul, they both said, all right, that my doctor note was not acceptable. All right, that my doctor note was not acceptable. Why? And I told them why. And the reason why was because I was being treated for extreme anxiety. Why was I being treated for extreme anxiety? Because of what they put on me. What they put on me was something that really I couldn't understand, and why they would be so cold, so hearted to someone like me. Why? Why would they be so cold-hearted to someone like me? All right? Now here it is, like I said before. Jody Paul, denied the doctor's note. Why? Why, Jody Paul? Because of what? All right? Janet Finch denied the doctor's medical leave request. Why? Why? Okay? And that's why I say thank God for these other commissioners, because apparently Joe Ganim ain't in bed with these other commissioners, because they apparently voted against them and told Joe Ganim that those union employees need to be honored. The days that you took from them, pertaining to those holidays, pertaining to those presidents that passed away, you now been ordered by the state labor board to reinstate them and give them back the money, or either give them time off, which you agreed to do because you knew you had no right doing that in the beginning, which was taking away their benefits. And that's why I say to the governor, to the powers that be, please sit down with me, you, Blumenthal, because again, Blumenthal, in 2008, the question is, you let your assistant Mitchell send this stuff to the state auditors, and the question was, the state auditors got a response back in 2010, and the question is, I can't find out what ever happened, but the bottom line is we now know what did happen, is that Mr. Murphy, Gerald Weiner got paid, and I call that fraud, and I say to you, Mr. Mayor, to the governor, I want them to pay that money back. There had no reason for in the world for Gerald Weiner and Mike Coed to get paid for so-called what, arguing about I had voluntarily resigned. How long does it take to say I voluntarily resigned? It takes 30 seconds. I didn't voluntarily resign. I was terminated. The letter says I was terminated. So why would you sit up here and act like, okay, that I voluntarily resigned when you got overwhelming evidence showing that that was not the case? And what it really insults me again, another lie, that I never showed up at work. Why would you sit there and do this to me? It shows that I did come to work. I did come to work. Yet still the letter said I was terminated. You terminated me like you get pulled over a red light and they give you a ticket for a red light. They can't change your ticket 2 days later. All right, that's what they tried to do. They tried to change it. And I'm saying download the Cecil Young Show Monday through Sunday. You can get this show. Right now you can get it. I got 55 or more shows with Cecil Young. Just download the Cecil Young Show on SoundView or it's on YouTube, and you'll hear Dr. Walters, Mary Evans, you will hear Jody Paul, you will hear Albert Murphy, not Albert Murphy, Michael Cohad, you will hear Gerald Weiner, you will hear all of them lying. I got them all lying on tape because I taped the meeting with those folks involved in it, and I got it all in black and white as well. So I say, please again, don't look at me, look at what they did to me, and there go the grace of God. If you think about it, could be you next. Please again, contact your friends, contact your neighbors, tell whomever you need to know that the Cecil Young Show is on the air, live and in color, and I want to continue doing things like this, but I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need your support. I can't do it alone. How in the world would the Connecticut Post ignore this? I've been made totally disabled. I was made totally disabled. Why? By a federal judge. Not one word mentioned in the newspaper. I got this man here been sitting by my house, watching my house for 14 years or more. Night and day, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I called the police on him several different times just to try to find out where he is. When he finally caught him, he wouldn't even produce any evidence showing why he was there, what he was there, other than he was just there. But for 14 years, I literally watched him, got cameras watching him, got the whole 9 yards. I mean, it ain't that I'm running from, I just want to expose who he is. I got another white dude on another street. I took another picture of him the other day, which I put on next week's show. And I'm also going to be showing you the new work that's being done in Father Perry Village. I'm in the P.T. Martin. They're rehabbing the steps that we talked about being rotten and corroded. They're sanding them down, they're reinforcing new steps. And so I say, on the outside, okay, P.T. Martin, those steps look really raggedy, taggy, but they're doing something about them now, and I thank God for that. But again, I thank God for people like us, because if it wasn't for us speaking about those things, showing those things, raising issues about these things, we would be living in darkness. We'd be still going through what we're going through, and that should not have to be the case. Again, I want to say thank you for Soundview TV. Thank you for YouTube. And again, I say call your friends, call your neighbors, and call the Connecticut Post, call WICC, and ask Lisa Lester, will she please allow me to come on the show so I can talk about this injustice, because this is about me, it's about we. Thank you much for listening to the Cecil Young Show. And again, don't forget, next week, tune in, part 2, part 3. could be coming close to you or me. Have a good day.